Hello and welcome to Ann Arbor Inclusive. Ann Arbor Inclusive has partnered with Disability Network Washtenaw Monroe Livingston to bring you this disability-centered show. At AAI, we foster understanding, promote inclusivity, and share impactful stories within the disability community. I'm your host, Claire Moore. Ann Arbor Academy has been offering education to students with learning disabilities. And today, we have Meredith Schindler, Executive Director of Ann Arbor Academy, and Dave Hankin, a former student of the school. Welcome, you guys.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for being here. I have a couple kind of set the stage questions for you. Before we get into everything, where is the school located?
We are on Oak Valley Drive, the part that nobody goes down. It's down near the airport, so we're actually closer to Costco than like Meijer or the Ice Cube. So we're south end of Oak Valley Drive.
You are over in Disability Network's neighborhood neck of the woods.
Yes.
It's like a little disability community.
It is marvelous.
It is.
Yes.
I love that.
Yes.
So can you tell us when and why Ann Arbor Academy was founded, Meredith?
I sure can. It was in the mid-90s. The official date is 1998, but even prior to that, students were meeting as it started as a homeschool co-op, and like many schools across the country that do what we do, it was started by parents. And so specifically two families, the Brockbanks and the Mizels, and they had children whose needs were not being met by the public schools, and just, I think, couldn't be met by the public schools. The system is just not set up to meet the needs of everyone, right? It meets the needs of many people, but not everyone. And so students that are helped by Ann Arbor Academy kind of fall between the cracks in a larger system. It's just not individualized enough. So they started the school, and it grew from there. So it started in a church basement, and then we were on East Mosley for a long time, kind of near South Main Market and Washtenaw Dairy. It's condos now, you know. And so we moved 10 years ago to the new school. So it's not new anymore.
Newish, right?
Yeah, right.
Relative terms.
Right. Kind of joined the Ann Arbor exodus down to the south side of town, you know. So, but we love it. We love being down there. We have great neighbors. We have a lot of green space. It's fantastic. And we're expanding, actually. We're planning on renting some space in a building next door because the need for the school is growing. The word is spreading. So.
Well, that's great that you have that option, that you can do that there.
It is marvelous. Yeah.
That's wonderful. Well, I feel like you sort of touched on this a little bit, but what makes Ann Arbor Academy different from other schools? What makes it so special?
Yeah, I'll tell you what I think. Dave, I think, might have more insight even than I do. And I'll tell you, I've been the director of the school for a long time. I've taught there since 2000, and one of my children graduated from there. So I've seen it from a lot of sides.
Wow, yeah.
With Dave, right? Did she graduate in the same year as you?
I graduated in 2015.
Yeah, so the next year. Anyway, they were classmates.
That's awesome.
And so, so I've been, you know, I've seen it from a lot of sides. But I think the biggest thing is that we take students for exactly who they are, and we believe in them, and we build on strengths. And so that means that we have a robust arts program, and but we also have, you know, reading classes, but we also have, you know, we have a strong science program. We try to make sure that kids can find something that they're really good at and that they can build on, because building self-advocacy skills, building that confidence, learning how to learn, finding friends, those are the things that make school really work. But for a lot of our students, they get lost in the shuffle in a bigger environment that isn't really specifically thinking about who they are as a unique individual and how to meet those needs, and meet them in a way that is empowering, right? So that's, I think, a lot of what makes us different. We're friendly. People say, like, we smile a lot.
Oh, that's great.
You know, like, we like being there.
Yeah.
We have fun at school.
Really important.
So I think all those things combine. I don't know, what do you think?
Yeah, Dave, what do you think makes Ann Arbor Academy such a unique, special place?
Well, I believe Ann Arbor Academy is a place where you don't have to feel all alone. You don't have to carry out your challenges by yourself, and you should know that you're not the only one that's carrying those things, and you can always turn to someone who wants to help you. And it's like a big moment of your life.
Yeah. Yeah, you spend a lot of time in school. It's important to feel comfortable and safe and part of a bigger group, part of a community, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's so important. I tell people, at public schools and other private schools, that don't have this mission, kids hide, people hide who's going to an IEP, and it is, it's private information. But at our school, kids are like, how do I get some of that if they're not on, that already? The pride in who each person is and the pride that people take in their uniqueness is really unusual. It shouldn't be, but it is.
I think often about the saying that disability is not a bad word.
Right.
And the inherent, there's shame that people have associated with the word over time. And I think you speaking to other students, seeing either accommodations or accessibility needs being concerned or addressed, those things being a point of this makes my life as a student, my schooling, all of my access is better because I have access to this. And then the other students seeing that too and being like, well, I want that too.
That's exactly it.
Right. That's not shameful.
What do I
it's
need
wonderful.
to succeed? That's absolutely true.
Yes.
And when we do our school, the explanation of our school or our advertising, a lot of schools will say, oh, learning differences. And we do too, right?
Sure.
Because not all of our students have a diagnosed disability. But we say learning differences and disabilities because we don't want to sugarcoat. We don't want to say, disability is a designation that comes with civil rights.
Yes.
And we want to make sure that people are, understand that about themselves and can advocate for themselves. It's not just a difference, but it is not a bad word.
Exactly.
And so we really want kids to understand that and the whole world to understand that.
Yeah.
And really live with that.
It's really important work.
Yeah.
Way to go, guys. Way to go.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So I feel like, again, we're talking about this kind of at large, but I guess, can you speak more to how Ann Arbor Academy empowers students with disabilities and how you are doing the advocacy work and teaching, empowering them to do self-advocacy work?
Yeah. I think a lot of it is just that because of how we were founded and because we're an independent school, we're accredited, we're all of that. But we are independent, and because of that, we don't have to do things any particular way, and so we are able to approach education in a way that is much more tailored to the needs of the individual student and learning how to learn and so forth. And what that does is it really helps us build on strengths. So unfortunately, in other models of education, there is this deficit, right? If you are in special education, if you have a disability, you have a deficit. And really the unspoken part of that is that if we can just, give you enough or do enough, you'll be better. Well, you don't need to be better, right? This is not a deficit. This is a difference, but it is a difference that comes with, it's difficult. It makes things more difficult, more challenging, but we can meet those needs with accommodations and with support. And so I think that sort of community of people who understand that everybody has different learning needs and that's okay is just in and of itself super empowering. And then, like I said, we just try to make sure that people find something that they're good at, that they enjoy, and that school is fun, because a lot of times kids come to us and they've really been beaten down by school. And you always hear stories of people having a teacher that was wonderful, somebody that really understood them, but the system itself. And I love public schools. I think they're a gift in many ways, but it's not a system that's set up for success for individual students. It's more of a blanket kind of a thing. And so we're set up differently so that we can look at the individual.
Yeah, that's incredible. I heard you sort of mention meeting folks where they're at too, right?
Yeah.
And building upon what's already a passion or something that drives them. And speaking to that, Dave, I understand, I have some little birdies who told me that you're an artist.
Sure am.
And I know you brought some of your work. I'd love for you to speak about your work and maybe share some inspirations for you as an artist and how Ann Arbor Academy might have influenced that a little bit.
I'll be happy to.
Great.
So I started this one at 2011 when I was in lower middle school. These are my 4 favorite characters of the Marx Brothers, Groucho, Zeppo, Harpo, and Chico.
Amazing.
I just love comedy, and they really crack me up.
Sure. Sure, I love it so much. Do you draw a lot of figures? Do you draw a lot of people?
I sure do.
Okay. What's your favorite thing to draw or paint?
Well, I draw superheroes, and this is my Academy origin book in honor of my school, Ann Arbor Academy.
Amazing.
I base all the characters on
Wow.
my friends and teachers, and some of them I make up, like create with my own mind.
That is really cool, Dave. Oh my gosh. I guess I would love to know. Are you? I obviously you graduated from Ann Arbor Academy. Yes. So what are you doing now? What are you up to these days?
Well, I am working at a place called York Food and Drink on Packard Street.
Awesome.
Tommy York, the boss, is a family friend of mine. He gave me a job in 2018,
Okay.
and my job there is to clean dishes.
Okay. How do you like the work?
It's awesome. I'd do anything to make this Earth a healthy planet.
Oh, I love that. That is really cool. An artist and an environmentalist.
Exactly.
I like that a lot. So how do you think being a student at Ann Arbor Academy impacted your life now and where you're heading?
Well, it was a challenge there at the academy, but when I got older, I really pulled through, and it helped me understood that, well, we all have our limits, but
Sure.
that doesn't mean we can't let them, well, take over who we really are and what we want the most, and we can find a way to channel those limits and make sure they work for us instead of against us.
Wow, that is really powerful words.
Yeah, I love words of wisdom.
Yeah, that's great. So I guess question for both of you, what do you think that other schools can learn from Ann Arbor Academy?
Well, I believe that it's about believing in others, including yourself, and understand that we can't change who we are, what we have, the way we look, but we can change the way we see, not with our eyes, but with our hearts.
Wow.
I have nothing to add to that.
I was going to say, how does one follow?
I think that's
something?
exactly it.
Oh my gosh, Dave, amazing. Wow. That was really lovely. I guess, so if people are watching this episode and they want to learn more about Ann Arbor Academy, where should they go? Who should they talk to?
Yeah, they can call us or send us an email. We have, we're on the web. We're pretty easy to find.
Great.
And so just Google us and then, just get in touch and you can arrange a tour. And one thing that people get concerned about is that it is an independent school. We do charge tuition. We're not a charter school, but we have a lot of financial aid available because we really, diversity in all its forms is a value that we hold very strongly, and we want to make sure that socioeconomically we are as diverse as possible, and so we do a lot of financial aid for folks who need it because it's very difficult if somebody needs to be at Ann Arbor Academy. How do you, it's
Right.
terrible to just say, oh, sorry, we don't, it's part of why we're expanding. We had a waiting
Sure.
list, and it's a terrible thing to have a waiting list when you're who we are, right? Like a lot
Yes.
of private schools would love to have a waiting list, but not us.
Right, right.
So we really, for the students for whom we are, we're there for, we really want to be there. So we always encourage people to come tour, and we're willing to work with people to try to, make sure that they can afford the school just to the greatest extent that we possibly can. So, we really encourage people to come in and to do that. I think the need is, just going to keep growing.
Sure.
We tell people come in and take a look. We have a summer program. It's
Oh,
a camp. It's
amazing.
5 weeks. You can do a week. You could do 2 weeks. And
Great.
that's a nice way. Sometimes we have our summer kids. We have kids that go to public schools or other schools during the year,
Yeah.
and they just come to us for the summer. And
Well, that's a great resource.
so we try to really make it it's certainly as inclusive as it possibly can be, and
Yeah.
also just as available and accessible as possible to as many students as
Sure.
we can.
Well, that's
So,
wonderful. Well, thank you both so much for being here.
And thank you for having
Thank
us.
you. It was wonderful.
Great. So stay with us as we move on to the next segment of disability etiquette tips on Ann Arbor Inclusive. Knowledge is power, and by fostering an understanding, we can build a more inclusive and compassionate community for all. Our disability etiquette tip for this time is be mindful of communication. In this segment, we'll be discussing communication. The goal is to create an inclusive, respectful, and comfortable communication environment where everyone can participate equally. Be mindful of communication. First, speak directly to the person. Always address a person with a disability directly, even if a companion or caregiver is present. This shows respect for their autonomy and active participation. For example, instead of asking a companion, can you ask them if they would want to join? Say, would you like to join us? Second, adapt to the person's communication needs. Allow extra time. Some individuals may need more time to process or respond. Be patient and don't interrupt. Use preferred methods. People may communicate through speech devices, sign language, or writing. Be open to these methods and allow them to choose what works best for them. Third, practice patience. Don't rush the conversation. Let the person respond at their own pace and avoid finishing their sentences or answering for them. Body language and tone. Pay attention to your nonverbal cues. Make sure your body language, facial expressions, and tone are patient and positive, ensuring that the person feels respected and engaged. In summary, speak directly, adapt to communication preferences, and be patient. This helps create a respectful and inclusive environment for all. So whether you're tuning in as a caregiver, a friend, a colleague, or just someone who wants to be more informed, you're in the right place. Let's learn together, grow together, and create a world that truly embraces and celebrates the abilities of all. For more information or to connect with disability-related resources, programming, and our vibrant community, please visit Disability Network Washtenaw Monroe Livingston in person in Ann Arbor or online at dnwml.org. You can also follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Just search Disability Network Washtenaw Monroe Livingston. And be sure to check out CTN's website at a2gov.org/CTN for more great programs and services, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also follow us on social media at CTN Ann Arbor. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey at Ann Arbor Inclusive, where our diversity is our strength and every story matters. See you soon.